Yesterday small towns become yesterday's year.
Hey everybody, it's Kyle. I am coming to you from my car, and as you can probably hear if you've been listening, this is not the Zoom microphone. For some reason, it's not working with the SD card that I have in there. Every once in a while, it would not work right, and so I don't really know what that is, but anyway, I'm recording directly on my phone. No big deal, and I'm sitting still, so it should sound all right. At the top there, the music that you heard, that is Swell, the band Swell. And the main creator singer is David Freel. He just passed away this week, which is really a big, bad bummer. Yeah. But anyway, I love Swell. I love all their music. I have a ton of their CDs. And I do have one of their albums on vinyl. For All the Beautiful People is the name of that album. And, yeah. It's just sad. It's just sad. But, you know, those things happen. And that's just kind of the way it is. There's not much you can do about it. And you just, you know, he had a good life. He created so many great things. I know that I have lots of memories of listening to his music when I was super happy, when I was sad, everything in between. So, you know, mission accomplished, David Freel. You are missed, sir. Okay, so what good things have happened to me? Well, I can definitely tell you guys that I sold something that I had had for a long time, which, you know, it's one of those things that when I purchased it, you know, it was a big deal, but I really wasn't, I didn't care about it anymore necessarily. And I kind of found out that it was worth a lot of money. So what it is it's a book by an author named Gareth Penn, and it's about the Zodiac Killer. I was really fascinated with the Zodiac for a long time, and this is a book about him called Times 17. Pretty rare book. As a matter of fact, how I came across it, I had heard about it, but how I came across it was I bought it on Amazon. But I bought it on Amazon 21 years ago. Back when Amazon, pretty much that's what they sold was books. They did sell other things, but not like now. Mostly just books. And if there was a rare book that you were looking for, they actually had people go out to used bookstores in a certain part of the country or whatever, and they would have that on their list and they would try and find it. And so this copy was found at a used bookstore in San Francisco, which kind of makes sense that this book was published more around that area, simply because that's where the Zodiac murders took place. But it's a really interesting book, but it's also a little bit bizarre because what the author is trying to present is the fact that all of these murders, and even some murders that happened later on in, I believe in Massachusetts, are from one person. And they all can be explained through geometry and mathematics. Thus the title, Times 17. Anyway, I'd had it for a long time. I had seen them being sold online for $1,000, for $500. I put it on eBay and did a bidding deal, and I started at $250. But I had a buy it now set up for $500. I think I paid about $25 for it 21 years ago. I ended up selling it for right at $250. The funny thing is, the ones that I have seen for $1,000 and $500, they're not in as good condition as the one I just sold. Actually, this book was delivered today too, by the way, which is great. I hope the guy that bought it enjoys it. But anyway, I noticed those people still haven't sold their books either. So it's hard to sell something like that, especially when it's priced so outrageously. And that's kind of why I priced it a little less than what I had seen out there, because, hey, you know, I want it gone. I don't need it. And somebody wants it. So they probably feel as though they got a deal on it. Anyway, I made some money off of it. So I was happy with that. There's a good thing that's happened to me. And then the other good thing that's happened to me is every once in a while, I will see a movie, a film will come along that is just totally and completely earth-shattering for me. And that happened this last weekend. My wife and I went and saw Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I think it was absolutely incredible. And I did tell Mikey to go see it, and he did with his wife, and he was fascinated by it, not nearly as much as me. I think it just hit me a certain way, and it hit my wife that way too a little bit. But it is amazing. I mean, I know if you've watched the trailer or whatever, you know the premise generally, but there's so much more to it. You don't know why this stuff is happening to this woman, why she's going through this right now, unless you see the film. And it really is amazing, and it has lots of messages about how you should just live your life and all that stuff. So check it out if you get a chance. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Again, I wasn't expecting it, but I would have to say it's one of the best films I've ever seen. There you go. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back afterwards and talk about some things that I'm into right now. Let me throw it over to Kyle. Hey, Kyle. All right, and we're back. Okay, so talk about some things that I'm into right now. Record Store Day is this Saturday. I thought it was in June, and I actually even had something on my calendar that it takes place in June. And then all of a sudden, when I went to Seventh Heaven the last time, they put, they always put some stickers in there, but he put in a little, advertisement, little piece of paper that talks about Record Store Day being on, let's see, what is that? That's the 23rd of April in 2022. I was like, what the hell? Sure enough, I went to Record Store Day's website, and yeah, everything that I had written down that I was looking forward to grabbing in June is going to be coming out this Saturday. So a couple things that I'm into, that I'm interested about. I would say number one is the Gambino album. I believe it's called Kawaii. It may even be an EP, but I'm very interested in that. It hasn't been on vinyl before now, so there you go. And then another real big one that I'm interested in is Tubular Bells 2 by Mike Oldfield. Now, I have Tubular Bells, and I kind of grew up listening to that. If you don't know what that is, it's a special type of bell or whatever this guy invented. I don't know if he invented it, but he played it rather well. And if you've ever seen the movie or heard the music from the movie The Exorcist, dun 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 dun, that is Tubular Bells. They used that music in that film. So it kind of has that eerie feeling to it. Well, let's see, that was out in the early 70s, and then in the late 80s he came out with Tubular Bells 2, and it's kind of like he altered it a little bit and kind of more modernized it, but I used to listen to it all the time. I had it on CD and I listened to it like nonstop. I loved it. It was great for when I was studying because there's no singing or anything like that, but it's just beautiful music. And I guess there's a Tubular Bells 3, which I was totally unaware of. But yeah, I haven't really listened to that one. I've listened to 1 and 2 a lot. So I'm looking forward to getting that. That's coming out on Record Store Day as well. So last weekend, which was the Easter weekend, I thought I'd go ahead and I'd stop by Vintage Stock. There's Vintage Stock here in town, and they had a buy 2, get 1 free or whatever for used items, including vinyl. And I don't always find good deals there, but sometimes when I do find great deals. The they had Suicidal Tendencies, one of their albums that I'd never had before. I can't even remember the name of the album, but it definitely was a reprint, and because it was kind of a gold or yellow vinyl. And you guys know how I feel about colored vinyl. The bummer is record store day, I guarantee everything that I want to get there is going to be colored vinyl. But anyway, so I looked at it, and it was in pretty good shape and everything. It's just, I don't know that album very well. The albums that I'm more familiar with are like The Art of Rebellion, and then there was another one too, I can't remember, I listened to a lot. And then I got into Infectious Grooves later, when the band kind of broke out and became that funk type music. Yeah, so it was $30 for that used album, and I was like, yeah, I mean, that's too much for this. But I did dig around and dig through a lot of their used stuff, and there it was. This is Big Audio Dynamite. The first Big Audio Dynamite, I used to have it on cassette. It's got E = MC squared, that song on it, and there's a few other ones. If you don't know who Big Audio Dynamite is, I bet you know their song The Globe, which I believe was in the early 90s, but that was from Big Audio Dynamite 2 or Bad 2. That was really the only song of theirs that got radio play here in the United States. And I believe it was BAD 2 because there was some different people in the lineup. But the one that I got, and then the one after that, which is North 10 something or other, I don't remember. I listened to those two a lot when I was younger. I had them on cassette. That second one I'd like to get on vinyl, but it had the song Come On Every Beatbox, and I love it. But yeah, one of the guys broke off from The Clash and went and started this group, Big Audio Dynamite. And I really don't know how to explain it. It's they use a lot of loops, and they use a lot of sound and stuff from movies and TV shows and stuff. They'll incorporate that into their music, and it is a little bit electronic, but they do play, regular, guitar and drums and all that stuff too. But I just like the sound of it. So yeah, I've been kind of rocking out with that. I came across that and it was in cherry condition. So now I have This Is Big Audio Dynamite on vinyl. And it's an original pressing, of course. They haven't reprinted that one. Let's see. And yeah, that's about it on the vinyl front. I mean, there's a few others. I don't know. I'll see when I'm there, but really, I'm not looking for much outside of that Gambino and the Mike Oldfield vinyl. Let's see, movies. Well, I already told you guys that I went and saw Everything Everywhere All at Once. Now, if you don't know the general premise of that film, it's about a Chinese American woman who lives here in the U.S., married. By the way, she's married to Short Round, or Data, from those movies in the 80s, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and The Goonies was what Data was in. But that actor plays her husband in the film. And then she has a daughter also who's past high school but kind of rebelling a little bit. And anyway, she has a father who's kind of rude and mean and everything. And you'll recognize him too if you see it, because he's been in a ton of movies, including Big Trouble in Little China, which is a favorite of mine. But anyway, long story short, they're being audited. And Jamie Lee Curtis actually plays the woman who's the auditor in the IRS office. And all of a sudden, this woman who's being audited, the Chinese American woman, realizes that, or she is approached by an alternate version of her husband telling her that she needs to help save everything because the time-space continuum is getting ready to be destroyed. And there's alternate universes and all that stuff. It's a multiverse type scenario. But it's a multiverse not about a superhero, not about, Spider-Man. It's about a Chinese American woman that owns a laundromat. But it's amazing, man. I really don't know how to impress upon you just how amazing that film is. And if you get the chance, check it out, because I think you'll be surprised. It just really is kind of a beautiful story, and definitely really amazing. And the most interesting thing is there's a scene in there that's totally silent, okay? And that's the most heart-wrenching scene in the whole thing. I mean, that's the one that'll get you. So check that out if you get a chance. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Michelle Yeoh, who played in a bunch of action movies, Hong Kong-based action movies back in the day, but she was also in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She was the main female character in that. All right, so TV shows. What I've been watching there, Moon Knight. The wife and I love Moon Knight. I think it's great. I think Oscar Isaac does a hell of a job. And I think Disney really created something pretty special here. I'm loving it. I won't really say much more than that. But Moon Knight was one of my favorite comic book characters growing up. And then I started reading the newer series. There's been like 3 of them. They have come out in the last decade. And there's a new one right now that I'm in the middle of. I think it's on issue 6. But this version of Moon Knight is different from what it was when I was a kid. This Moon Knight has alternate personalities and suffers from mental illness, and it's remarkable, and it's done very well in this TV series on Disney Plus, of all things. Let's see, what else? Halo. The wife and I have been watching Halo also. And I know, look, I played the first 2 games all the way through, and part of the 3rd game on my 360 back when I had it. And I know this story's a little bit different from what we're used to if you're played the games, but it's also very similar, and it's still amazing. It's an amazing story. The guy who plays Master Chief is awesome. He's huge, by the way, big fella, but he's an amazing actor too. It's a good show. I highly recommend that one if you get the chance. And then the last one I want to talk about, I haven't watched yet, but it's on Amazon Prime, and it's with Josh Brolin, and it's called Outer Range. And it's a guy owns a bunch of property out in the middle of nowhere in the country, and all of a sudden one day there's this giant black hole almost in the middle of one of his fields, and havoc ensues. I really don't know what it's about outside of that, but I know it looks pretty wild and pretty amazing, so I'm looking forward to watching that one too. I just haven't started it yet. Reading, I'm not really reading anything. Man, I am so backed up on comics. I really do need to be reading some of those. I've got so many issues of all of them to read. Need to get back into doing that, or sit down for a few hours and knock a bunch of those out. Because I do love it. I just haven't had any time. We're driving kids everywhere all the time right now. We're so busy. I love my daughter. She is so busy. She's doing so many things, and she's doing them great. And my son has been so busy too, with a lot of his stuff. But he will be driving pretty soon on his own, so that's good. And he can also help us out, taking my daughter a few places here and there. So I haven't really had a lot of chances to read, but I do need to do that. And then podcasts. Been listening to podcasts, no doubt about it, because I'm driving a lot, right? So the one that I really like right now is called Dead Eyes. I think I've talked about it on here with you guys, but it's about a guy who was hired to be in a bit part in the Band of Brothers, which was, I think, in 2000. It was produced by Tom Hanks, and it was produced, I believe, by Spielberg also. But this guy actually got hired to be a bit part in episode 5, and hopefully it would be in other episodes after that. And that episode 5 was the one Tom Hanks was going to be directing, okay? So he had the part and everything. They got him all fitted or whatever for the outfits. He told everybody he was in it, his mom, they cried on the phone or whatever. Next thing you know, he gets a phone call that says that they've decided to go a different way because Tom Hanks said that he has dead eyes. after he saw his audition tape, supposedly Tom Hanks said, yeah, he doesn't fit. He's got dead eyes. And so, whatever. So this podcast is like 3 seasons worth of this guy. And he, of course, he's been stewing over this forever. He stopped acting for like 15 years after that happened to him. And, yeah, but he's back now and he's doing a lot of good things. And the podcast is great because if you've ever obsessed over something that you have zero control over, or you've ever, then you'll know what this guy's going through. And it's pretty amazing to listen to him. I like him. I like it a lot. And I hear Tom Hanks is on the last episode also, which I'm looking forward to. And then Mr. Baldwin podcast, man, you can't go wrong with that. I've seen almost all of his videos on YouTube, and the podcast is no exception. A lot of them are just replays. They've just taken the audio, and he's added maybe some new information from some of his more famous videos on YouTube and released those as episodes. But he's just so good at storytelling. I mean, I really don't know how else to put it. My wife has come in, and I've been knee-deep in watching Mr. Baldwin on YouTube telling these spooky-ass stories and stuff, and she finds it a little interesting, but she's like, what is it about this guy? I'm like, I don't know, man. But he has multi-millions of subscribers and people that watch each one of his episodes on YouTube. So I can only imagine how well his podcast is doing. But yeah, that's a good one as well. And outside of that, I was listening to the Pink Moon Murders. That's a good one too. But I've I don't know. I think I'm on like the last episode of that one, and I kind of lost a little interest in it. So who knows? But yeah, that's about it, guys. I mean, that's about all that I'm really into right now, that I'm really listening to. I think I told you guys I picked up the new Jack White album, which I love. So great. Yeah, can't get enough of that one. Been listening to that quite a bit as well. The song with Q-Tip, Heidi Ho, it's a trip, but I'll tell you what, it's a pretty damn amazing song also. So check out that new Jack White album if you get a chance. That's it, guys. Not much else I can think about. I appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. I'll have a new episode hopefully on time next week. Hopefully I can get this Zoom microphone thing to work again. I don't know what the hell's going on. And I can get another episode out to you guys, and it'll be recorded on that format. So hopefully this sounds all right. I'll clean it up a little bit, and it should sound just great. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with a little bit more Swell, simply in honor of David Freel. I would leave you with some Gilbert Gottfried also, because he passed away as well. But I think Swell probably suits this podcast a little bit better. So go ahead and take a listen here, and I'll see you guys next week. Oh, and get off my lawn.
Shake up your mind.